Hello friends, followers and fellow flight simmers. Welcome back to another video. I received some questions after publishing the FSLTL review and installation video, and this video is going to be a step-by-step installation video and how am I using MSFS Addon Linker from flightsim.to to link the folders to my community folder and have more control on my community folder. If I want to switch back to a different traffic add-on, or if I don't want to remove it completely but don't want it to load when loading or launching the simulator. So this is going to be that video, and we'll start with first creating some folders and then linking those folders to Addons Linker, and then taking a look at the fly-by-wire installer and its settings on how to install the FSLTL to the folders we created. So let's get to it. First off, here is my hard drive. So game drive is sort of a backup drive that I use. This is not where my sim is installed. My sim is actually in drive G, sim drive. All my Microsoft Flight Simulator folders are in here. And we will start with creating a folder in a location of your choice. For me, it's going to be my F drive. And I will right click, new folder, and I will name this folder add-ons. From here, you can directly install here, but I'd like to categorize my add-ons so that I have more control and I know which one is where. Therefore, just to give an example, I will create two folders in here. One I will name aircraft, and then a second folder I will name scenery. So after creating these folders, we need to open the add-ons linker. I already opened it up. It's at the background, so I'll bring this up. When you first install add-ons linker, you will see this options window for you to select your folders. This top section, this big box here, is to add your folder where you will install your add-ons. For me, it's going to be the new folders that I created in my game drive. And that's this add-ons folder. And when you select and say OK, add-ons linker will read the folder and its contents and the subfolders as well. You also need to show the add-ons linker your community folder. For me, it's going to be my G drive, Microsoft Flight Simulator community. And then this is populated by default if you want to change where to store your presets, if you want to save some presets so that you can switch between those quickly, that you need to specify what folder. This is default folder and I haven't changed it. The Flight Simulator version, you can select Steam or MS Store/DVD. And fast launch is skipping some information like the splash screens and whatnot, so I don't use it. That's personal preference. I stick to MS Store DVD version. This is default. I haven't changed this. And folder initial state is how you see the folders, and I want to see them all collapsed, and I will expand it if I need to. Couple other options that you might want to check here is there is a warning if you try to fire up the add-ons linker when the sim is running. It warns you about the sim running and making changes might break things. So that's that warning. I don't usually select that. I know what it is and I don't need to see it every time. And then this no warning when launching simulator is a warning that you receive to run it in admin mode. And checking this box will override that warning. And the admin rights, let me roll it back. No warning when launching simulators. When you try to launch the simulator from add-ons linker, it warns you saying the sim is now going to run. I don't want to see it every time. And then the admin rights, it disables run it as admin check when you check this box. Those are the options I use in add-ons linker. So when you first run it, this will be the window you will be seeing. These are the options that you need to select, and I don't change anything else. So when hitting OK, it will read the folders and it says refresh needed. That's the refresh button, and that warning will disappear. And these are the folders. Because there is nothing in these folders right now, it doesn't show the arrows to expand these folders, but when we start putting stuff in here, you will see it. So this is also reading my community folder and what's in there. So that's where it's coming from. Just to record the video, I changed the folder structure but didn't modify my community folders. Therefore, yours might be pretty empty if you don't have anything in your community folder, or it will show what's in there. So just giving this as a side note. So this is how you need to set up the add-ons linker. And the next step is to fire up the fly-by-wire installer. And we need to do some work here too. Under the settings of fly-by-wire installer, when you go to download, if you are planning to use the add-ons linker with whatever you install, you need to specify the install directory by clicking here and selecting the folder you created. For me, it's going to be my game drive, the add-ons folder I just created, and selecting that will install everything the fly-by-wire installer installs into that folder. You can also go and change it to, let's say, aircraft. It makes sense, right? Fly-by-wire installer installs 2 aircraft and FSLTL. So be it. FSLTL is not an aircraft, but I'm okay with installing it into the aircraft folder, even though this is not an aircraft add-on. So after doing this, you can install your fly-by-wire A32NX and the Salty Simulation 747, and then the FSLTL. We will stick to FSLTL. I'm not gonna cover fly-by-wire and Salty Simulations mods. What you need to do is first install the base models. As you see, the install button is here. When you click, it's gonna start downloading and show you the download size, how much space you have in your drive, and you can disable this warning if you want to for future. Clicking install will start the download. It will take some time depending your internet speed. I have a fast internet, so it's not gonna take too long. We are already at almost 10%. And when this finishes, we will move on to the injector. I'm not gonna hold you guys here until the installation is done. So I will finish the downloading. I will finish downloading the base models and then move on to the next step. I will pause the video here and bring you guys back in a second. Right, welcome back. We are almost done with installing the base models, 98%, and we will be done in a couple seconds here. And next step is to install the traffic injector when this is done. All right, almost there, 100%. It's going to now, I believe, extract what it downloaded and then finish the installation of the base models. It's decompressing now, as you see. It's not gonna take too long. And I'm not sure if you can simultaneously download the injector while this is doing its job. I'd like to do it step by step. We need to wait just a little bit more, but I'm not going to cut the video, so you can fast forward if you want to. And if you don't want to wait for the installer to decompress the package. It's going pretty fast. I don't think it's going to take too long. And side note here, whenever you change anything in the folders, the add-on linker will say add-on refresh needed because it knows something has changed and it needs to reread the contents of the folders when you make changes or modifications into those folders, such as deleting something or adding a folder. And it is very, very handy tool. If you have scenery that you download from third-party sellers, you can extract that zip file into the scenery folder and link it to your community so that your community folder is clean and everything you have is in one place instead of placing them into community folder, which creates, in my opinion, a mess. And you don't have any control when you are downloading the world updates or sim updates, because everybody recommends that you download them with an empty community folder to avoid any conflicts and any problems that might occur during the download of the sim update or world update. We're almost there. When we finish this, we will refresh and it will read what's in that folder. And remember, everything is going into the aircraft folder. That's why we see this little arrow here, because now it can read the contents. Now we finished it, we will refresh. And if we will refresh one more time. Oh, now it finished. Okay. Now when we refresh, that should disappear and we should be able to see FSLTL traffic base. So far so good. We'll move on to the injector. This shouldn't take too long. Click install. Same warning again and install. It's gonna install very fast, and you can run the injector from a fly-by-wire installer if you want to do that. Again, because we made a change, it says refresh needed, and it will reread, and then you will see the contents of the aircraft folder. Remember, as I mentioned here, everything fly-by-wire installer installs is going into this folder that we selected here as the install directory. Just to demonstrate how it looks like, I will go ahead and download the stable version of A32NX. And you will see how it populates these folders in the community folder. There we go. It's downloaded the sim bridge, which is required for the fly-by-wire mod to run, and then it's now downloading the aircraft. This is going faster than the base package of FSLTL, so it shouldn't take too long. No need to cut the video here. I just wanted to show how the folder structure looks like when you download everything using the fly-by-wire installer. Almost there. I think it needs to download the sound packages too after this. I might be wrong. We'll see here in a second. Almost there. Just a little bit more. And there we go. Now it's installed. We need to refresh the add-ons linker again. And now we see the fly-by-wire aircraft. If we take a look at the folders, add-ons, aircraft, we'll see all these folders created by the fly-by-wire installer, because that's the installation directory that we selected. SimBridge, this I believe runs on its own. I'm not gonna try to cover fly-by-wire mod, but I just wanted to share the folder structure. So now we have all the installation done. If you want to see the folders, you can click the base models and about and package files. It will open that folder. This is the FSLTL traffic base models. And if you want to do the same thing for the injector, you can go to the about and package files. And this is the injector that you need to run. If you don't want to use fly-by-wire installer, you can right click and send this to desktop as a shortcut. Desktop, create shortcut, or you can add it to, it is right here, or you can add it to your taskbar. This is your preference. I don't know which way you want to do this. I usually like to keep it on my taskbar so that it's easily accessible, but that's up to you. So this part is the installation. We are done with this. Now we need to fire up the sim and then talk about the sim settings to properly run the FSLTL, and that will be the last step we need to complete. So I'll fire up the sim and bring you guys back in a second. Before I do that though, I almost forgot how you link these folders that you downloaded to a separate location, not into your community. by using add-ons linker is you just put a check mark next to each item here. And if we go and check the community folder, which is my G drive, Microsoft Flight Simulator community, you will see these shortcuts generated by add-on linker. FSLTL traffic base, FSLTL traffic injector. These two are coming from GSX. It's not using add-ons linker, but that's how GSX works, so don't worry about these two. And then you'll see the fly-by-wire aircraft A320neo. All three is linked, and if I remove this, you'll see that disappearing. As you see, the aircraft fly-by-wire disappeared. If I put it back, it comes back. So this is how you link, and then it is time for us to fire up the sim so that the sim can lead these shortcuts, and that shortcut will guide that into the folder we created so that the sim can read the add-ons that we download into a separate folder, not into our community folder directly. So I'll fire up the sim now and bring you guys back here in a second. Welcome back, friends. The sim is up and running now. What we need to do is change some settings in the sim first. To do that, we go to Options, General Options, and then Traffic. Under Traffic, aircraft traffic type needs to be off, because now all the live traffic will be injected by FSLTL. We don't want the sim to generate any traffic such as AI offline or real-time online. Therefore, we need to turn this off. The AI aircraft traffic density needs to be 0. As I said in the last video, if you are not able to slide this slider, change this to AI offline, and then you can slide it to 0 and turn it back to off. And the last thing is the ground aircraft density. FSLTL is going to now create some static aircraft for us as well based on our settings. So therefore we need to bring this down to 0. If this is not 0, Flight Simulator will generate some traffic based on the liveries that you install, and that's not always going to be the livery you'd like to see, such as an American Airlines A320 in a European airport, which doesn't really make sense. So after making these changes, apply these changes, and what's left for us to do is to go and fire up the traffic injector. You can do this by either from the fly-by-wire installer or from your shortcut you selected or placed on your taskbar or desktop. And this is going to ask what we want to change. Do we want to change the settings? I'll go over this. I did this in the last video, but let's go over this one more time. If you say yes, you will change the settings. If you say no, it will fire up and start injecting the traffic. Before doing this step, I think it's really important to go and select an airport and load into that airport. For this, we will go to, let's say what? Let's go to Zurich. Okay, so we'll go to Zurich. We'll select a parking stand. Maybe from here. We need a medium-sized aircraft gate. That works. And then I'd like to change it to daylight hours. And we'll say fly. This is just to demonstrate the injector, and this is how I do it. I don't start the injector before loading into the airport. That's my personal practice. It might still run if you do it in the world map menu and then load into the airport, but this is my way of doing this, so try and let me know in the comments if it works the other way around as well. It's gonna take a little bit more to load into the airport. There we go. So ready to fly. Let's go and jump outside and change the view so that we see. And now we can switch back to the injector and we can go over the settings. So yes, we want to change the settings. Max active IFR aircraft. This is the aircraft that will be injected using Flight Radar 24 data. So I'm keeping it at 85. My computer is powerful enough to handle 85 aircraft. This should be something that you need to play and decide which number works best for you. I'll keep my old setting, 85. Active VFR aircraft. This is again a beta feature. As I mentioned, this creates some VFR aircraft around the airport. So I'll keep it at 8 like before. An additional parked aircraft is the static aircraft that FSLTL will place at the gates if there is no traffic at Flight Radar 24. This sometimes happens if you are in the US and trying to fly in Europe in the middle of the night because of the time zone difference. Sometimes there are no flights or there are no aircraft at the gate because it's 3 a.m. in the morning. And this usually happens with smaller airports in Europe, not the bigger hubs like Frankfurt or Copenhagen. But I'd like to keep it at 7, so FSLTL will generate up to 7, not 7 every time. I mentioned this before. This is the max number and it's between 0 and 7 or 1 and 7. FSLTL will try to create some static aircraft at the gates with correct liveries. But that's that. Maximum radius to inject aircraft. This is a new setting that came with the recent update to FSLTL. It's currently injecting the aircraft that is 150 kilometers away from the airport. You can play with this number. I think 150 is a little bit too much. I'm gonna go for 100 kilometers. So if the aircraft is within 100 kilometers of your current position, FSLTL will inject that traffic. So this should help with your computer performance if you are getting stutters or if your computer or if your sim performance is not where you want it to be. Maybe play with this and try to inject the traffic when it's closer so that you don't try to inject an aircraft that you are not going to see at least for 10 minutes if you are up in the air. So 100 kilometers, I'll give it a try. That's my guess. I can go back to 150. It works fine like that as well. So I'll keep it at 100. Blocked aircraft removal time. We talked about this. This is not about FSLTL, but this is about how Microsoft Flight Simulator handles the ground traffic. Sometimes if the taxiway is blocked, you will see aircraft spinning on its own axis. And if that happens, this setting will help you to help FSLTL to remove that aircraft so that you don't have spinning aircraft all around. And that usually happens if 2 aircraft pushes back at the same time and blocks each other's taxiway. So I'll keep it at 60 seconds. That's good enough for me. You can lower it down to 30 or you can go up to a different different setting. 60 works for me, so that's what I'm going to set here. API key. This is the API key. I'm going to blur this, not make it visible, but you can go to flightplandatabase.com and create a free account and generate an API key so that when the traffic is injected, it goes to here and grabs a flight plan for your departure and arrival so that IFR aircraft behaves a little bit more realistically using that flight plan and the waypoints in that flight plan. So I will keep the current key. I don't have to change this. And to keep the current setting, you simply press enter and then disable blank liveries and generic models. So this is again a new setting with the recent update. If you say yes, this will disable white liveries where they don't have a livery for that airline. And it makes it a little bit more cleaner, but you will see less aircraft if you are at an airport where the FSLTL doesn't have the livery for that airline yet. This is going to change. They are going to add more models and liveries in the near future, and I would say they have 95% of the liveries. The common ones are at least in there, so I don't want to see blank liveries and generic models, so I will say yes to remove this. And it will start the injection. That was the last setting. This will take up roughly around 30 to 60 seconds to see the injected traffic. Again, it's 11 p.m. in US and we are at Zurich. The local time right now is, I think, 4 in the morning or 3, but again, we started to see some aircraft popping in, and FSLTL is deciding whether it's going to be an American or Delta Airlines over on this gate. There's a Swiss over here, a big heavy airliner. That's our aircraft. There is a United. That's a big one too, which is possible to see it here, I guess. And then there are some others over there as well, another United. So I'm not sure how accurate this is. You can go into flightradar24.com and check if this traffic is the correct traffic at Zurich airport at the moment, or the airport that you are in when you start the injection, because I see a lot of United. That might be true. There are some Edelweiss aircraft here too. There's another Swiss back there. So as you see, it generates and injects the traffic based on the Flight Radar 24's live traffic data. I think there's a 30-second delay, but again, this is way better than any traffic injection that I have seen, and it's much more lighter when it comes to the workload and how much it loads your CPU and GPU. I like FSLTL. It works great for me, and this will be my go-to traffic injection tool until a better solution comes, or Asoba and Microsoft Flight Simulator fixes the live traffic injection. All right, so I think that's all about FSLTL and how to install it and use Addon Linker to link it to your community folder if you don't want to install it directly into your community folder. I just wanted to share this step by step after receiving so many questions about how to do this. I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you to get FSLTL running properly if you haven't done it already, or if you are not able to do so with the current way of installing it. Or maybe this is a good alternative to keep your community folder clean. So that's why I wanted to share this. If you enjoyed the video, please take a second to hit that like button. And if you stumbled upon this video and not a channel subscriber, take a couple seconds to hit that subscribe button. 70% of the viewers of my videos are not channel subscribers, and if you subscribe, it helps my channel a lot, and it also helps with YouTube's algorithm to make this video reach to other flight sim enthusiasts and people who are seeking information about flight simulation. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks for your patience, and I will be seeing you in the next video.